Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Connections. This is your girl, Allie. I hope everybody's having an amazing week thus far. I know we just got started, but you got to start in an amazing way so to keep flowing that way, right? So I hope everybody's having a good week and had a great weekend. I want to, you saw all the flyers. Y'all know sometimes I do forget, but I'm going to try to make sure I put all those flyers in the group as well because we know that this is the weekend upcoming for Father's Day. There's a lot of events that are taking place to encourage the men because let's face it, they have a lot on their plates, they have a lot on their shoulders. And so, for them to be able to succeed and to keep going, we have to be there to encourage them and to let them know that they are valuable and whatever they're doing, they are appreciated. So, there's lots of events. We know also it's Juneteenth weekend, so there's Juneteenth events happening. So it's just a lot going on in the community. I was out yesterday with Judith's husband,
Oh,
Rick and
yes.
Chuck Brown, over at the Judy. I always say it wrong. I always say
Cloud check Sunday meet and greet brunch.
yes. Thank
Yep.
you. I used to get on here and say sound check, and instead of daiquiri bar, I would say dairy bar, and I was like, y'all go look at that flyer. Don't listen to me. And so Brandon was pushing, they want to again celebrate the fathers this weekend. So he's wanting everybody to come out. It starts at
Yes.
12. The brunch starts at 1 p.m. It's 2600 Clemson Avenue there in Charlotte. But today we talking to the other half of the Browns, Miss Judith. How you doing today?
I'm good today. Thank you so much, Allie, for having me on.
Yes, I love your. Is that purple? You look so good in it.
It's a dark maroon shirt that I have on today.
It's
And
pretty.
it's called my TEA, my tea shirt, because I am a very big tea drinker, and so I love to just sit back with a chai or whatever. So I'm wearing my tea shirt today.
Yes, I love chai. We got to sit down and have some chai together one day.
Yes.
So, Judith, I know you've been on the show before, and
Yes.
we were talking about it. It had been a while, but people see us like you've been in my wrestling videos when I come to the wrestling matches and things like that. So, people have probably
Hmm.
seen your face, but I definitely want to give you opportunity just to greet the family again, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump into all this good information.
Sure, sure. So here in Charlotte, North Carolina, I am a disability advocate. Founded a nonprofit just about October will make 5 years ago, called Project 70 Forward. It's a little riff on our area code, but it's all about the support and advancement of people with disabilities here in the city of Charlotte and beyond.
Awesome. Listen, 5 years ago we started about the same time then, because we
We
in
did.
May we started. We were established May 2018. So yes,
Yep. So it's
cool.
been about 5 years since I've probably been on the show.
Well, I'm glad you're back now. And listen, I'm here for this conversation because I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, when you're young, you really don't think about things. You don't think about getting older. You don't think about difficulties that people who might be older or people who have disabilities have until you really kind of cross over into that world. And
Yes.
so I am a big believer. Hey, V Mayo. She says, good afternoon. I'm a
Good
big
afternoon.
believer that information and bringing awareness,
It's
will
important.
spark change, will spark people to realize what's going on. So let's
Yeah,
talk about it.
it's really, really important that people, it's hard. You're young, you think you've got your whole life ahead of you. You know how we are. We're going through graduation season. And so, that 18-year-old is being told your whole life is ahead of you. But we know through data that one out of every three 18-year-olds doesn't make it to retirement before they hit disability. One out of every three. So that's a lot of people, and we're not prepared for it. Most people think, oh, okay, if something happens to me, I'll just get Social Security, not realizing that even in North Carolina, it takes about 2 to 5 years to get a disability case solved. What are we doing in that meantime? And then usually in that meantime, you've probably married, you have children, you've bought a home, you have a car. what are we doing so that we're prepared? So, in our awareness, one, we want to make people aware of this could happen to anybody at any time. One car accident, one health scare, and your life and your whole work trajectory can change. And so we try to get people prepared, but a lot of our people come after something has happened. I have 3 clients right now, and all 3 of them came to me when their health changed, usually around that. One was early in her late 30s, the other 2 were in their 40s. Life changed, and they couldn't work anymore. And so it was like, oh, okay, how do I navigate this system? How do I get the help that I need? How do I get the support while I'm either trying to heal, or if it's chronic illness, as I go through this journey? And that's hard.
It really is. And like you said, I mean, ugh, listen, I have a friend who just got out of the hospital and didn't even realize what was going on. I mean, and they had checked his heart rate, his blood pressure, all this kind of stuff. The normals, the range looked normal, but at the same time, his lungs were filling up with
Wow.
fluid. And it was just like, oh my gosh, how do you know that that kind of stuff is happening to you? So, like you said, in the matter of a twinkling of an eye,
Aye.
our whole
Something to
life
change.
could change.
And Al, this story came out of my own, this journey and this organization came out of my own experience.
Hmm.
So in my late 30s, I was just doing the thing. I was administrative extraordinaire, almost to the height of my career, or what I thought was the height of my career.
Hmm.
And in my late 30s, at that time, my first marriage had ended. So I was a single mom with 2 boys. And I suddenly had to come out of the workforce.
Hmm.
I hadn't the slightest idea of what to do. I didn't even know. I had always worked. I've been working since I was 17. I didn't even know where social services was. I didn't know anything about any of those programs.
Right.
And I was also at that time discovering that my sons were on the autism spectrum. So
Hmm.
I tell everybody, go back 30 years. What were we even knowing about autism at that
Exactly.
point? And there was so little help. And so this came about because I promised, I said, when my boys grow up, I'm going to turn around and help other families navigate, understand, learn how to advocate for themselves or a family member. So we can not only have what I call independent living skills, but independent thriving skills. So we can
Hmm.
learn how to thrive in this system.
Hmm. Yeah, V Mayo, life definitely happens, and that commercial that says it comes at you fast is not kidding.
It's not kidding.
Mm-mm. And so, I know a lot of times people go through things and they're kind of embarrassed. They don't really know what to do. And so I'm so glad that these conversations happen now because people need help, but sometimes they're scared. And like you were saying, even about the autism, I remember years ago I had a show on and a lady, her son had autism. And so, but at the time they didn't know it. So they just thought he was acting out in school,
Hmm.
kept punishing him and things like that. So it wasn't getting any better because they weren't really treating the root of the issue.
Right,
They just thought
right.
he was a bad kid. you know.
I hear that all the time. He's just bad. He's just stubborn. He's just, you know, all of these types of things instead of, like you said, getting to the root of it. And then I believe every child can learn. I was told when my son was in kindergarten that he would never graduate high school. I mean, how do you decide at 5
Right.
that somebody's never going to be able to do something? Well, that was my oldest, and not only did he graduate high school, he graduated an associate with an associate degree. He went to 2-year college, and
Ooh.
made the dean's list. Okay, so we have to be able to learn how to help our children so we can navigate the system and not just have people write off our kids. The biggest thing is to have these conversations, Ali, because there is a lot of shame and sometimes stigma. People are
Yeah.
afraid that they won't get that promotion if they talk about that they have a disability, or they won't. People will try to treat them differently. But
Hmm.
I'm here to say that as a person with a disability, and I name mine, I have a visual, hearing, and mobility disability. I'm here to say, no, that doesn't have to be the case.
Exactly.
Literally, when we learn how to self advocate, we're stronger in our positions and in our roles. Also, a lot of the corporate organizations now, they are signing certificates saying that they're going to support anyone. They're going to support people. So you may have an employee resource group that is for people with disabilities. People in HR may be able to understand what accommodations you might need. I
Right.
just got a call, or actually a text, from someone that I helped. Her job, tried to tell her that, they didn't want her there because she was having trouble getting there all the time or getting there every day. She asked for accommodations. They refused. And then they said, you had to leave. Well, she just won her unemployment case. And now we're going even further to say that she may have a civil rights case. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go that route,
Right.
but she's willing to go that route
Right.
because she said, you know what? She calls me Mama Judy too. She said, Mama Judy, you've taught me how to advocate in this role. I'm not afraid.
Right.
And she already has another job, so she's learned how to stand up for herself and to be a strong advocate.
And my stepdad has some mobility issues, and so like, you know, they were having some aids that just weren't,
Yes,
suited for him. And so, and I called and I was talking to the lady and I was like, I understand that times are hard. I understand that it's hard to get, help that's steady, da 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 da. But the communication piece is very important.
communication
And
is key.
and that was one of the things she said, you and your mom, you're the best advocates for him. So use your voice. Don't be afraid to call. Don't be afraid to
Right,
follow up. And it's okay to do that because even when he was in rehab, after he got out, I went back to that rehab facility and I talked to the director because I was like, you know what? We were there for my dad, but
right.
not everybody has somebody who's going to be there every day watching. And I want the next person that comes in to make sure that they get what they need. If there's a note on there that somebody needs to be with them while they're eating, doesn't mean you necessarily have to feed them. We just want to make sure that they don't choke.
They
We want to
don't
make sure
choke.
that they have enough food because they might just get tired and be like, I'm full and haven't really eaten anything. So it's different ways of thinking about it. It's not just to feed them, but it's to take, you know, what's the word? To observe what's happening,
What's happening? If I tell you, that's a lot of what sometimes I end up doing. Sometimes I have clients and we have to stabilize where they're living or what's going on with their services or their medical team. But a lot of times it's just about being there. I get a
Right.
lot of clients that don't have that family support. So they're literally out here trying to navigate, trying to support themselves. Sometimes I and some of my volunteers now that I have, they're just making calls. Hey, Mrs. So and so, how you doing today? Do you need anything? Can we get you anything? You know, um, Sometimes people just want you to be there, sit by them, talk to them for a little bit, because they may be in their home alone and they're
Mhm.
dealing with different things. They may be in a facility. I think it was a week ago. I was up between Novant and Mercy. I had three clients in the hospital,
Oh
and I
wow.
went to see all three of them. It's sometimes they just need to know somebody's coming and somebody
Exactly.
cares, and that helps the staff know. Okay, somebody cares about these people. They're just not up here by themselves.
Somebody's gonna
Somebody's
pop up and
coming. To check on them and look, and that
right.
goes a long way. It
It really
does.
does. It really does. And it's in a way kind of sad that it has to be that way, but at the same time, life is life. They really are overworked as well. We get it
They're
and everything.
short staffed. Yes, all of
So,
that is going on, and they appreciate that when someone's up there and able to sit with them and different things like that. So I'm actually recruiting more volunteers who are ready to do that. A lot of my volunteers are people who are retired and they have that time
mhm.
to go up or go and sit with someone, go and give them a phone call. Um, we have one that we actually got her a laptop, so now we can do Zoom meetings, and she
Okay.
loves that. So there's a lot of ways to use the technology in order to help people.
Yeah, and like you keep saying, it's the small things, like I know hospice in the area where my mom is, they were making cards, and I was like, "Mom, what you doing?" And she's like, "This is from hospice, but we're sending cards to out to the people in the living assisted facilities." And I was like, "Give me a stack, let me write. I want to do some letters and some
You know,
notes."
I used to do that a long time ago. I was a birthday buddy. I used to send
Yeah.
out birthday cards to so many different people. And it was especially people in these facilities where they may or may not have family coming to see them. They're not getting out of the facility. So yeah, I used to do that too, and I love doing that because I'm sure it brightened someone's day. It did.
Mhm. And like you were saying too, when you don't know what to do, hey, Akia Canada, Queen of the
Hey,
Princess.
Akia, nice to see that you're on. Thanks for joining.
Yes. And so, when you're first, like you said, getting into that area, you don't know where to call. You might be making calls and they're like, I can't help you. Let me just take, for example, we went to the beach recently. And so you can't really push a wheelchair on the beach. They just don't roll like that.
It
But they
doesn't
do
work.
have chairs that go on the beach.
Yes.
Well, they now the hotels don't have the wheelchairs. You have to contact the city. Well, the city said that they have not canceled it, but what do you call it? It's kind of on hold for right now.
Right. Freeze. They put a freeze on them.
Yeah. And I'm like, why? People coming to the beach, it's not on hold. You know what I'm saying? And so then there was another facility that we found, but you have to give them a 24-hour notice.
Notice.
And then there's like a minimum of how many days you can keep it and all this stuff. And I'm like, listen, we didn't know that. Can you help us? Can you work with us and get us a chair today? I mean, we didn't know the rules. And so again, these conversations and knowing that sometimes that the first two phone calls you're not going to get any help, but you got to keep digging because there is help.
Gotta keep digging. And what I hope to do, so in Charlotte, for the most part, we partner and collaborate with whatever group is out there. So it's not like we have a saying, we don't reinvent the wheel, we just make sure it turns. We
Mhm.
don't try to have the one-stop shop of anything. What we try to do is say, okay, well, if you're looking for furniture or you're looking for some hygiene products or you're needing this service or that service, we'll partner with whoever we can to get that for you. This way, we don't have to carry everything or house everything, but we're
Mhm.
able to get that information. And then we can tell you, all right, call these people. But if you want us on the phone with you while you're calling them, we can be
Mhm.
your advocate on the phone because we know the language or we understand how
Right.
the process can work. So it's all of that. So hopefully now we'll be able to expand outside of Charlotte to provide those services even to other areas. In fact, I'll be in Salisbury on Wednesday of this week doing my first community resource event. And it's going to be a combination of things, which is other things I want to talk to you about, but it'll be bringing all of what we do to a new area. And that's going to just be
Mhm.
fantastic.
It really is. I applaud you. I mean, like I said, I didn't know. And you think, well, I'm a good person. You help somebody open a door when they're going through or something like that. But, and even those small things are so helpful. People don't
Yes.
understand. Like sometimes we'll be trying to get my stepdad in the car or whatever, and somebody will be like, can I help you? I'll, either push the wheelchair or I'll lift them up to get in the car or whatever. And you're just like, thank you so much. It's such a relief in that moment. You're just like, okay, because I had the groceries in one hand,
Right.
so
And that's the appropriate way to do it. Always, people sometimes want to come up and not say anything and just start a no, say, how can I help you? And
yeah.
the person can tell you whether the person is a family member or the person who's using the mobility device. They can say, well, you know what, just do this and allow that person to tell you because our goal is to have people be able to speak for themselves and be able to advocate
Mhm.
for themselves. But if you walk up and you want to help, just say, hey, how can I help you? Or can I help you with anything? And let them direct you on what to do. Don't just jump in, take a hold of
Right,
somebody's mobility device or whatever, because that could cause an accident. So there's
right.
such a thing as disability etiquette. What is the best way to talk to people, approach people? We always tell it, be polite, like anything else. Um, Walk up and say, hey, good afternoon. Can I help you with anything? Do you need some help? And then say, well, how can I help you? What would be best? and they'll be able to tell you. So,
Right.
hmm
Right. I like that. So, what are some of these barriers that we're facing, that we need to come together and shout out loud that, hey, we need help here? What is
well, I tell you the truth, you know, we all know that there's some systemic inequities. We know that happens. But a lot of times the systems work in silos. So you might have Social Security over here, social services over there, Medicaid over here.
Mhm.
No one sometimes is talking. And what happens is people fall through the cracks on a lot of that. And so that's part of what I end up doing a lot is, hey, listen, this is where we're losing people. This is a gap in the system where somebody could fall right through it. And I'll give you an example. When we have somebody who is disabled and homeless, we
Yeah.
don't have a system right now. We tell them call 211, call coordinated entry. There is not a program right now in the city of Charlotte to, if a certain person says, I have a disability, to say, okay, we can give you someone who's going to help you navigate. We're doing that outside of the system, but there's no one inside of the system to do it.
Mhm.
And so, just to let you know, in January of this year, 50% of the calls that came into coordinated entry were people dealing with a disability.
Mm.
Imagine if you could handle 50% of your calls because you have a program that coordinates all these different systems, all these different organizations. We don't have that yet. So that's some of the conversations we're having in 2023, talking to our city, talking to our county to say, how best can we handle? You've got this volume. How best can we make all of these systems work together?
Yeah.
We're one of the few organizations that's available at 5 o'clock on a Friday and over the weekend.
Mm.
Most places, 4 to 5 o'clock on Friday, you're not getting anyone. So that's usually our busy time. We get calls at 5:15
I
on a
missed the
Saturday.
call. I missed the
Right,
deadline. Yeah, now
right.
a lot of times people on Fridays are closed at 12, and you're like scrambling,
Scrambling.
and
So we
oof.
work with Crisis where we can put in an application for someone if they need to, and not saying that they'll get it on a standard Saturday, but they may reply early on a Monday, which is much better than you missed them on Friday. You have to wait till Monday to just even talk to them. So
Mm.
we're able to do that for families dealing with disability. We're also able to put in food referrals with loaves and fishes so that we can set up for food to be delivered
Mm.
that very next week if you call us on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Oh
We
wow.
love to be, not that I love to work 7 days a week, but we love to be able to make sure that people can reach the services because, they have their business hours and
Right.
we try to be available. We do things using text. We have a very simple intake form that most people can fill out through their phone. We do a lot of things to make it easier for people to be able to reach what they need to reach. And if, like I say, I have clients in the hospital where we become the designee, the communication designee. So now I can talk on your behalf.
Mm.
Say you're not available or you missed that phone call because you're taking an x ray. And they say, oh, we couldn't reach her. Let's close her case. No,
Right.
usually my name or number is in there. Oh, let's reach out to Judy. Okay, yeah, I'm either going up there, I'm going to call them, or they're in surgery. You'd be surprised what happens while people are going through these processes. So, our goal is to make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks.
Mm. And I just thinking about so many stories going on in my head. It could be just, you need a medication and you need a piece of paper from the doctor. You've taken that piece of paper, they supposedly filled it out and faxed it or emailed it.
Or emailed it.
And these people over here saying, I never got any information.
hmm
And then you call back, you have to go back. It's a lot. And that's what you're saying. It happens when they fall through the cracks because I just know how, like, I do something at work. Like if I have
hmm
a responsibility, I like usually follow up. Did you get that? I sent this or something. It don't have to be nothing major. But everybody's thinking, well, I'm still waiting. They haven't done it yet. Well, I already sent it, so I don't know what's happening.
I don't know what happened to it. Let me tell you a
Come
story.
on,
We had a major housing development organization reach out and said, we sent this paperwork to our client. We can't get it back. And they said, but we kind of figured out that she has a disability. Can you help us? And I said, now you are this big multi-million dollar budgeted organization. And they were calling me. And I said, sure, I've got a mobile notary. Let's go over there. Well, she had lost the paperwork somewhere in the home.
mm-hmm.
And we were able to get that paper notarized, drop it back into the mail. And this was literally about saving her home.
Oh
And
wow.
so you're surprised sometimes it's something that small that can make the difference for a person. But they had just come out of the hospital. They were still trying to heal and get themselves together. And when we got there, we realized, well, there's more that we can give you just worrying about a piece of paper. There were other services. We actually even upgraded her health insurance. We were able to do that. We were able to get her that. I was telling you about the laptop. We were able to get her a laptop, the free phone, the telephone where she could read what the person was saying. All of that we were able to do that she didn't have before. So
Yeah.
it's once you get in there and you begin to say, well, how can we help you? What would help you navigate better? So now she can pay her bills online, you know, even
Mm-hmm.
small things like, okay, you've got this laptop, but let me go through the accessibility system so that I can make the icons bigger. So you're not hunting for your glasses to figure
Yeah.
out. All these little things make life easier.
Mm-hmm.
And we love to do that. We just love to do that.
I'm telling you, we one of the doctors that my dad goes to, he was telling us about a phone that he has, and the numbers are kind of big, but at the same time, there's pictures. So
Mhm.
like he doesn't even have to like dial the number. He just chooses the picture,
Picture and
son,
then done.
daughter, whatever.
Hmm.
I was like, that's what we need because we get worried about stepdad, being at home. Even my mom, like if he's just not feeling well, but she needs to go to the grocery store and things like that. So, but if something would happen, how would he call?
How would
So
he call? Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
I'll be
we
honest
can
with you, Allie,
spread.
there's so much out here. Most people don't know that Charlotte has an assistive technology lab where people can go and look at different items for their home, for their office, for their work to help them stay as independent as long as possible. There's a lab right there on Executive Center Drive, off of Albemarle Road, and they're open Monday through Friday. You can go in there, take a look. They also help sometimes with if you're looking for financing ways. We do a lot of donation drives to help people get things. We were actually able to help a gentleman return to work because we got him the portable hand controls for his car.
Oh,
And we fundraised for that, and he was able to go back to work.
wow.
So, we don't always tell people what we do. We come in and ask, what do you need?
Mm.
Let's see how to make the system and all the different organizations and agencies come together and work for you. But I want
See,
to tell you about our new program. So go ahead.
okay,
I'm
no,
excited.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
So, always it's been people with disabilities on the receiving end, charitable and all that sort of thing. What can we do for you? But we're now, after we've gotten people to the point where they can advocate for themselves, we're now putting them in leadership roles on some of our projects. So we're already gearing up for Census 2030. We will have more people with disabilities in leadership and managerial positions. We're
Hmm.
going to be doing a program to reach our young people who may be going through some mental health challenges after COVID. That's another space where people with disabilities will be able to show up and help in a peer support role or even just a buddy role.
Hmm.
We're talking about digital equity, where we want people with disabilities to show what's working for them. And then finally, we're giving people with disabilities the ability to tell their story either through our blog or
Hmm.
online or at events. So
Wow.
they can say, listen, I was able to overcome these issues and now I'm still working or I'm back to working or I'm doing things differently when I thought I didn't have anything to look forward to. We're putting those positive stories out there. And so it's
Hmm.
not just about Oh, okay, what do you need? And I'm on the receiving end. But come out here and help us do our voter drives. Come out here and make sure people know about curbside voting. All of those different things, we're now in a position to put people who feel like, well, I had to come out of the workforce. What else can I do? There's plenty you can do. There's plenty
Mhm.
you can do.
It really is. That is so cool. I love that because everybody wants to feel like they're needed. Everybody wants to feel a part. And so I always encourage people, don't, wherever you are important. You have value. Somebody needs what you have, whether it's a story, whether it's a hug. Some people just have
Yes.
different gifts. And so like even my friend that I was talking about, I was like, man, I don't know whenever you're gonna feel like it or if you want to, but like you should tell your story because people
Yes.
sometimes they just think they're tired or they're just worn out.
And they
But
also think that they're the only ones going through it. And
hmm
there's usually someone else. I'll give you a great example. One of my board members, my secretary, she became my secretary because when I went to see her in the hospital, she had the best notes about her entire medical history. And I said, you take the best notes I've ever seen. Do you want to be our board secretary? And she was like, sure. She has taken those board notes, whether she's in or out of the hospital, and they're perfect. She's wonderful at it. And so I love what you said about people still have value. We tell you, you still have value in your family, in the community, and even the marketplace. You could take those skills and reinvent yourself into a new career.
yes, yes. And I mean, like you're doing, I mean, you're inventing so many different things, processes and things like that. The information, your story, your journey, your experience is so important and can be such a life-changing, you know, um, event for somebody else. Like
For
I said,
somebody
I
else.
had to go back to that nursing home and talk to that lady because I knew my dad wasn't gonna be the last patient they had go through there. So
Right.
there were just things, and I didn't go cussing and fussing. I said, "Let me just talk to you because I know there's gonna be more people that come through your doors. I want your facility to grow and be one of the best around."
Right.
And the only way you can do that is maybe if you find out where there's some cracks or where things have fallen short.
Falling short. And I'm sure they appreciated that. I started very early on with the idea that it's not about who am I going to sue or who am I going to picket. It was about let's sit down at the table and how do we fix this or how do we make it better. I took that approach because, first of all, it's hard to say, let's burn it all down and start another system. Sometimes you have to work from within a system and show, like you said, where the cracks are, where the gaps are, and let's begin to see how we can fix it. So we have plans to sit down with our city and county to talk about the gaps in the homelessness system. You've created a system, but too many people are not being served from that system. How do we make it better? And that way you're gaining partners and we're all trying to come up with plans and future strategic moves that'll make things better for the community.
Right. And I like too the way you were saying, let's start. I mean, the structure is already in place. So while I'm over here trying to build a whole new structure, I'm wasting time. I'm missing out on helping people. So let's
Yes.
take this structure and just make it more sound.
Right. And let's build a better mousetrap from within. I tell them all the time, I said, we can't stop helping to build something new. We've got to continue to help
Yep.
people
Hmm.
through the system. And if we're really listening, that's one of the things I tell people. Don't come up telling people what they should do. Ask them, what do we need to do for you? How would this make it better? What are your ideas? And that puts that person in a leadership position with their learned experience, their lived experience.
Hmm.
They are sometimes the best people to ask on how to fix it.
Hmm. I really like that because you've said that multiple times. Let's ask the question, what can I do for you? How can I help? How can I make this better? Because a lot of times us on the outside, because I'm just gonna tell on my mama. She'll get me later. Sometimes she thinks she knows, what my pop
what they
wants
need.
or needs or whatever. And she's like, but he needs to. I'm like, but okay, maybe he just doesn't want to eat that. Ask him. Just ask some questions. So I
Just
get,
ask questions.
so, but she's learning because she was new. Some of this stuff being introduced to this, she didn't know. She just wanted to make sure he's eat. So we
Right.
come from a good place in our heart, but at the same time, we have to listen.
We have to listen. We have to encourage people to be what I call interdependent. People are going through changes with their independence, and you don't
Yeah,
want to enable them to become weaker, and you don't want to just push them out there and say, okay, you do it. It's an interdependence. But
right,
if you don't involve the person, if you don't say, hey, listen, come to the table and be part of your own care, your own healing, your
right,
own medical team, they should be the leaders of their medical team. Unless you get to the point where they really cannot have any input, then that's a different situation. But even with my sons, from very early on, they were involved in, okay, are we going for a diploma? Are we going for a certificate? Do you want to go to college? What is it you want to do? It
mm,
wasn't just like, well, here's this what you're going to do, and that's the end of it. And
right,
so, in general, now both of my sons are very independent. Like I said, one lives all the way in Washington State, completely on his own. And, he just chatted with me the other week about, Mom, thank you for giving me that spirit of,
mhm,
keep fighting, keep going, don't give up.
right,
That he's very independent now, but it's still an interdependence. He knows he has a network with his family, whenever he needs it. And that's what I think we should do for anybody.
wow. This is such good conversation. I love see. This is the kind of stuff that brings me back, because we all in those 5 years. I'm sure you've had some days you're like, I'm just done. Da 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 da. But these are the conversations when I have these conversations. Like, okay, this is why making connections is here. This is why we show up because this information, this encouragement, you know, is going to be so important. Somebody might watch this 2 years from now, but it'll be just
Right.
what they need to
They
know
need.
to keep going. So I appreciate everything you're
No
doing.
worries. Let me also tell you about our mobile units because we have a different way of delivering services. We don't make people come to us, we tend to go to them.
Yeah.
So, over these 5 years, we have been graced and we had two minivans donated. Um, One, we look like we're about to have to retire. So, we are looking for either another mobile unit. It could be like what they call the work truck type of size or whatever. But the second one, the newer one, is now our mobile office. We can literally pull up with our
Mhm.
printer, our laptops, and do applications on the spot or do research for you on the spot, print out information. I'm almost always driving around with community resources ready to say, what is it that you can, if you say, oh, Judy, I need something about food, okay, we're able to put in an application and here are where all the food pantries are. Which one would be closest to you, or would you like to have food delivered? So that's how we do. We have a tiny office, but we're mostly on the road in the community.
That's so wonderful. I had another friend. She lived in Wilmington. She had a traumatic brain injury,
Hmm.
and we didn't know that she wasn't eating. She wasn't getting food. We didn't know that she had gotten to the point where she would get confused when she would go out, and she was
Right.
embarrassed, and she wouldn't tell anybody. So she was not eating. She was
Mm.
spending holidays alone, and we're just like, what? What's going on? So we got on some kind of food train or whatever where we were sending food and things like that. So I just want anybody that's listening, don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed.
Yes.
Please, please,
Reach
please,
out.
please,
Reach
please.
out. I tell people if I don't have it, I usually can find where it is or I can put the word out.
Truly,
I mean, we have, over the 5 years, we have helped people in so many different ways. Even when we work with Loaves and Fishes and get a food box, we then also have a partnership with Food Lion because not always everything in that food box is good for you medically to eat. And so we'll supplement with some fresh fruit or fresh vegetables or frozen items that might be better for the person. So we're always asking those questions. What is it that you're supposed to eat? And most people are afraid to ask, they seem like, oh, that'll make me feel like I'm, too good. No, we need you to eat for your health.
Right.
And so if canned goods are not what you're supposed to have, and that food box has a bunch of canned goods, we
Right.
need to know that, you know what, that's really not what I should have. I should have low sodium, or I should have frozen. That's
Yeah.
better to know. Don't be afraid to ask. We're always, and like I said, everyone who works with Project 704, the majority of either our board members, our team members, or even our volunteers are people who have disabilities. And so they're already accustomed, like, oh, yeah, I understand all about that. Let me
Mm-hmm.
make sure, have you ever tried this or have you tried that? And not like we're giving out medical advice, but we're just saying, hey, there's different food choices. You don't have to take
Right.
exactly what you're getting. We can try to help you out in different ways. But if we don't know, we can't help.
Right. Oh wow. I see. I didn't even know. I thought I knew a little bit more about what you do. You do way more than I thought.
Yes. Well, again,
Listen.
it's based on when we get that phone call and what the person may need. Like I said, I'll be in Salisbury Wednesday for a community resource event. So I'm taking up a lot of, personal hygiene, healthcare things. It might be blood pressure cuffs. It might be toothpaste. We'll take all of that up, and it helps us break down the. Sometimes people say, "Well, who are you?" Here, let me give you these things. And in the meantime, do you have anyone working, someone in the home that has a disability or a senior over, 55 or 60 years old? Because we know that's usually our core community. And
Right.
if you'd like more information, we'd be happy to take and have someone call you. We love to do it that way. And
Right.
everybody likes free stuff.
Amen.
So, if I come up with socks or anything that we get donated, we'll bring out. And it's a way to break down the barriers or, make people feel more comfortable. And then when they hear that, well, the people even serving me are people with disabilities, it's not like we can't relate. And
Right.
that also breaks down that barrier of, oh, maybe I don't want to talk about this. We've been there. And so,
Right.
yeah, talk to us if you talk to anyone else. So we'll be doing that Wednesday. In October, I'll be starting in Gaston County. I've already started going out to Union County, but just one property. So I'm working my way to being able to do more locations.
Awesome. And so, with trying to branch out more, what are some of the other things that you need right now? Do you need more volunteers? What is it that you need of?
We can always use volunteers because we get called to a lot of events. And then sometimes the event could be this two events could be on the same day. So if I have one set of volunteers, doing a distribution, giving out free items and taking information, and then I'll sometimes try to jump between the two events. So we always need event volunteers. We need volunteers to help people maybe on the phone, just calling in and checking on someone. And if
Mhm.
they need something, then you just escalate that to a team member who can say, okay, yes, we can try to get someone out there. I used to have a lot of drivers during COVID. We really don't have a lot of drivers. So if you're someone who's home during the day, doesn't mind, oh, Judy, I can drop something off within a 5-mile radius. We're doing that now as well. So we know, okay, drop this off at the shelter or drop this off at a hospital. This person
Mhm.
needs something. So volunteers are always needed.
Wow. Okay, awesome. Listen, tell the people how they can follow you, get in touch with you.
Sure, sure. Well, there is the website, www, and it's project, the number 7, the number 0, and the word forward, F like Frank, ORWARD .org. And there you can go to a contact if you want to try to contact us. There's a donate button at the top of every page. We love donations. That has helped us help a family buy a van. That has helped us, like I said, with the mobile car parts so that he could drive. That has helped us even drop off water or food. Your donations literally go to the community. Like I said, most of what we do is on a volunteer basis. We're also on Facebook. You can look for me. I'm Judy Elise. You can find Project 70 Forward on there.
Mhm.
And that's where I am a lot. I'm also on LinkedIn, Judith Brown, and sometimes on Instagram, not as much. And we
Yes.
haven't started TikTok yet. We're getting there. We're going to get there. But,
Yeah.
we're literally in the communities of Charlotte. We're connected now to about 20 neighborhoods all across
Yes.
Charlotte. And so you'll probably see us more in the little burgundy van riding up and down. But we do try to respond through the social media.
Awesome. Listen, when I tell you you can meet the Browns in the community,
Yes.
typically one or the other.
Or both of us together.
Well,
Usually
both.
it's one or the other, or we're both together out in the
Yes.
community.
Oh gosh,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I don't know how they do it all. I'm telling you, they stay so busy. But, it's
We
for a
both
good
enjoy
cause.
we both enjoy giving back. My husband loves to host any event that I'm doing, so and he brings all the entertainment and all the caterers who do the food. So it's always a party. It's always a good time. And then I'm always bringing all the community resources. I'm going to tell you one last success story. We
Sure.
had a young woman in Greer Heights that she came to our table in our distribution. She used to just come and get clothes. And one day she picked up this postcard and it was about how to learn to be an insurance broker. And she said, "Is this real? Are they really going to pay for everything?" And I said, "Yes, they're going to pay for everything." Fast forward 6 months, not only is she an insurance broker for health and life insurance, she's a notary, and she's going to start her podcast to talk about all of these things that she's learned. And we're talking about someone who pretty much was struggling to make ends meet, and
Right.
now she's got her own business. And
Yeah.
so I tell people all the time, we bring the information, we can help. If you have trouble connecting, we can connect you, but if you do the work, there's lots, there's so many opportunities. And I literally told her, please don't leave the neighborhood. Hang out with us and be our community notary now that,
Yeah.
that we were able to reach you through, just our simple distribution table.
Wow. See, I love for people to be encouraged. I know what it might
Yes.
feel like right now, what it might seem like. It might feel real daunting, but I always say seasons change, just like in the natural, as it is in the spiritual, it is in the natural. Seasons
Yes.
change. We have
Seasons.
to live through summer. We be hot. We can't You can't find enough shade, but we know that fall is coming.
Right.
And then even sometimes winter, you're just like, I can't go anywhere. It's too cold. There's ice on the road. But we know that spring is coming.
Spring is
So
coming. You know
just
what I tell
don't
Allie? I
give
tell
up.
people, don't give up. Stay focused, but also use your voice. You have power in your story, in your voice, in what you've been through. There may be someone else who could use what you've learned,
Mm-hmm.
but just you empower yourself and you empower others when you speak up. So don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. Don't worry about, oh, there might be some stigma. No, we're building a community of people who are willing to stand as a community and support one another as we come out here. So, keep going, hold on, spiritually and physically and mentally, and keep going.
Yes, yes. Amen. Amen. I love it. And I just love Mama Judy and Chuck. They're both so genuine, and like she said, it's really from their heart, everything that they do, and to be able to help somebody, because that in helping that person, just like with the lady, now she's helping other people. Now she's
Yes.
relaying that information, providing opportunities for other people. So I love it. So before we go, I do have to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to make sure if there's anything else you want to share about, events coming up, and just, a last word of encouragement, for somebody who might be going through, doesn't know what to do, still kind of not sure which way to
Hmm.
take. Just a last word of encouragement for them.
Okay.
So right now we're going to see a video, and we're going to hear a song by it's Chops Turner singing, but it was produced by the Groovaladas, Marlene, and those guys created our theme music. So I've been
Oh,
trying to talk about them a lot because they did come through. They created our theme music for us, and so Marlene is part of the Groovaladas, but he also has a studio called Polyphonic Studios. You probably saw their new logo when we were coming on today. And so, if you're an artist and you got the talent and you can write, but you need to get your sound tight and you want to make sure it's ready before you start introducing it to the world. Polyphonic Studios is who you need to go to. So, Miss Judy, stay with us and we'll be right back.
sure. Okay.
Constance Howard with Constance Howard Executive Life Coaching. I recently sat down for a chat with Aly on her program, Making Connections with Aly. And OMG, what a great time we had. We laughed, we talked, we shared secrets, and we gave information about how to live life passionately. Listen, if you're not watching Making Connections with Aly, give yourself a treat. It's an hour that you will enjoy and you'll learn something in the process.
Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome back to Making Connections with Aly. Listen, you guys are just listening to Chops Turner. I always talk about the New Year's Eve concert we had on the show. Listen, Chops has some chops. He can sing. And so that is his song Get Together, produced by the Groovaladas. You can check out Chops Turner, the Groovaladas, Polyphonic Studios. They're all on social media. Stream their music. Listen, it will bless your whole life. So we have been talking to Judith Brown today, and I wanted to ask you why you put she, her, and hers by your name. I meant to ask you that earlier.
So, we live in a world now that we have people who identify in different ways. And so, this is what I tell people: disability doesn't care what your economic level is, gender orientation, sexual expression, whatever. And we have taken up the cause to say we will not, we accept everybody. We accept everyone because we believe everybody is a human being and has value. And so that's part of how, when I go into meetings now, sometimes I'm even describing myself because I'm never sure if a person has a visual impairment, but it's
Mhm.
also to be welcoming for people. You'd be surprised within the LGBTQ community how, when a person becomes a disability, they lose that community sometimes as well. There is such stigma and shame. And I
Mhm.
will get calls from people to say, well, do you help us? And I'll say, if you have a
Mhm.
disability and you're human, I help you.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
do not discriminate. We do not separate. We do not anything, because I believe we're all human. We're all loved by God. And therefore, I'm out here to serve everyone. And so that is sometimes just a subtle way for people to understand. I recognize that community. And if you're dealing with a disability, we're here for you.
Mm, kudos, kudos. Listen, we have been talking to Judith Brown, founder of Project 70 Forward. That's 70 Forward.
Hmm.
Follow them on social media, Facebook,
Facebook.
Instagram.
Hmm.
You saw the website, project70forward.org. Email outreach at project704.org. It's easy to remember who they are. They I like to keep everything consistent. So listen, if you're somebody who's trying to navigate this world of disability, you don't, you're new to it, or maybe you're helping somebody, you're a family member of somebody who has disabilities, you have to know the information too. So, reach out to Judith. She has so many resources. And like she says, if she doesn't have the answer right then, she can get it for you because she partners with so many people and so many different organizations. And so definitely reach out. Maybe you're somebody, I talk to people all the time. They're just like, I don't really know what my purpose is. I just sit around all weekend. I ain't do anything. Well, listen, we got stuff for you to do.
Right. Come and volunteer. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, be a volunteer and help out. So, Judy, I definitely wanted to give you opportunity before we leave, just to get your last words of encouragement. And again, if there's an event or something that you have coming up, let us know about that as well.
Well, real quick, this is Juneteenth weekend coming up. I'm going to be with my husband. Um, we're going to be at a Juneteenth event at the Stratford Y, and I'm trying to look at the time. It's June 16th and 17th. On the 16th, it's from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. June 17th is probably the day we'll be there. It's from 11 to 8. You've got all day long because they've got all sorts of events coming up.
Mm,
Then on the 24th, we will actually be in Pineville with Friendship Worship Center. They're doing community resources. They're going to have so many nonprofits out there, and Project 7 Forward will be out there as well. That's going to be June 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're doing bouncy house, free haircuts, food, and they're at 301 North Polk Street in Pineville. And Chuck's going to be hosting. I'm going to have a table. You can meet both of us out there.
yes. You see the name Mr. Excitement? That's who we're talking about.
Yes, if you see Mr. Excitement, that is us. But
Yeah. And so I will
funny,
definitely make sure I put those flyers. I know they're in the beginning of the show, but I'll put them in the group as well, so everybody can make sure they have those times and the locations.
Yes, and I'm trying to find something real quick for a final
Sure.
word. Really just telling people to be encouraged and stay as encouraged as you can. I understand it's hard and it becomes very, very difficult. So I'm going to read it real quick. It says,
Mhm.
God says, don't even think about giving up. You're going to make it no matter what it looks like right now. I know you're worried about your finances, your health, your family. Remember, I always work in your favor. I will bless you today with peace, healing, and victory if you don't quit. I'm going to bring something beautiful out of this ugly situation. Get ready for your blessing. And
Mhm.
that literally is the testimony of my life. You
Mhm.
know, over 20 years ago, coming out of the workforce, thinking I had two small children, how am I ever going to make it? And now here I am, a nonprofit leader, respected and helping so many others. So
Yeah.
God's going to make something beautiful out of whatever you're going through right now. Just don't quit. Hold on.
Yes. Single now. She's remarried. They just closed on their house.
Yes.
Stuff. So yes, ma'am. Y'all keep it being encouraged. Keep going. And so thank you, Miss Judith. I call her Mama Judy very affectionately. Thank you so much. And we're not gonna wait 5 more years before we have our next one.
No.
Let's keep this conversation going. Let's keep
Going.
people reminded, of the resources that are available and just
Hmm.
any other aspect that you want to bring into the interview. We're here for it. Okay.
Sounds great. We sure will do this soon.
All right. Well, you guys know we are making connections with Aly. That's me. We are here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, about like Mama Judy. We have an Instagram account. We post sometimes. I forget, but we we also, you can find us on YouTube. And if you miss a show live, you don't have to miss it. It's always on the page. Go back to the Facebook page. It's there, and you can also find it on our YouTube channel. So invite your friends, because the information that we're really tapping into this season is information that can help everybody. So don't just listen to this show for yourself, but please share it, because you never know who's on in your community that might need this information. So please
Yes.
share the videos. Um, Comment if you have questions. Leave your comments on the page, and we'll tag Mama Judy, and she'll come back and answer. So I appreciate you all, and until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a great day, everybody. See you soon, Mama Judy.